One of the world's most prominent businessmen is getting involved in this year's presidential election. Billionaire Elon Musk will be sitting down with Donald Trump for a live interview tonight on X. Musk endorsed the former president shortly after Trump's attempted assassination. And NewsNation's Robert Sherman is following this story, joins us live from Las Vegas. So, Robert, Musk is about to take a deep dive into Republican politics tonight.
Yeah, he most certainly is. And if you've been following Elon Musk over the last couple of years, you'll recall that there was a point in which he said that he didn't really have an interest in backing either party. But you've watched some of his comments over the last couple of months or so has definitely shown an empathy for certain conservative issues, the U.S.-Mexico border being one of them, for example, and some other issues that Republicans have latched onto. All of that really changed the day that there was that attempted assassination attempt of former President Trump, in which he came out and outwardly said that he was going to endorse the former president, putting a tweet up, a post up on X in which he said that that was exactly what he wanted to do. You compare that to 2022, a very different tune in which Elon Musk called on former President Trump to hang up his hat and sail off into the sunset, stepping aside for new leadership in the Republican Party. So this has all come a long way in a span of just a couple of years. But now you've had Elon Musk coming out and attesting to the fact that he intends to continue to support the former president, both rhetorically as well as financially as well. And now you have this big interview which is taking place tonight, which certainly is going to garner a lot of interest as it kicks off at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Nichole.
All right, so 8 o'clock Eastern. But Robert, it is important to note that, Musk has now endorsed the former president, but they have not always seen eye to eye. I am thinking of the issue of electric vehicles.
Yeah, that's a really good example here in which you have had some differences in thoughts between the two sides. I mean, you've had former President Trump, who has been, talking very extensively about the issue of electric cars and saying that the country isn't ready to go totally to electric cars, still needs gas vehicles as well. But then you have Elon Musk, of course, who has Tesla under his belt and is a strong proponent of electric vehicles. The two have politely disagreed in recent months, and you've even seen the former president addressing this on the campaign trail. Here's what he had to say last month in Michigan.
And so Elon endorsed me recently, the other day, actually. He's great. Elon Musk. He's a brilliant guy. Every time I call him, he's talking about, I got a new idea for a rocket. You have to hear this. He's never mentioned to me, why are you hitting the electric cars? Because he understands I'm not hitting it. I think it's incredible. I've had them. I've driven them. They're incredible. But they're not for everybody. Some people have to drive long distances. And they tend to be more expensive. And, they'll probably be made in China.
So those are the kind of issues that you've seen polite disagreement between the two men on. But nevertheless, Elon Musk says that he wholeheartedly supports former President Trump's campaign. And that's a big part of the reason you're going to see this sit down taking place tonight. Nichole.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people will be watching. All right, Robert, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.